Hi there! Ever since I was a kid, I've been fascinated by photography. It was my dad's favorite hobby, and I used to just use his camera and my sister's camera, go out and just like point my camera at something, and if I had a photo, literally of anything, I would just be happy with that. When I got a bit older, I started to put a lot more pressure on myself, and I had this idea that art, and in particular photography, had to be really meaningful. It had to mean something, and I had to be saying something when I did it. I had to be like changing the world almost, like all of these great National Geographic photographers that I looked up to. And I'm not a professional by any means, but I've always held my hobbies to such a high standard like this, and today I wanted to try and change that. When I graduated high school, I took a few years and I went traveling. And I was taking a lot of photos during this time. I wasn't traveling for the purpose of photography. I was doing work that allowed me to travel, but I was still taking a lot of pictures. And these pictures are definitely my most favorite photos that I've ever taken. I don't think it was just that I was in these amazing, extraordinary places looking at these beautiful landscapes, but also just that it was something different, and it had these memories attached to it and these places that I saw that really made me love the photos and love taking them. But when I got home, I just kind of stopped. I've been home for a couple of years now, and finding passion and motivation in these weird in-between stages of our lives where we're not really sure where we're going is something that I really struggle with. To me, if I'm not photographing something important, something impactful, something extraordinary, then I don't really see the point in photographing it at all. The best photos to me are ones that make me feel something, whether that's nostalgia, happiness, comfort, fear, disgust, emptiness, any emotion really. If it makes me feel something when I look at it, then it's a success in my eyes. And it doesn't have to be, high quality, or technically correct, or even really visually pleasing to look at. It just has to make me feel something. The idea I had for this video was just to kind of hold myself accountable and try and find that creativity again of taking pictures of stuff that maybe is meaningless or doesn't really serve a purpose to be photographed. I have a couple of cameras, and I kind of just wanted to go out to some places that I've grown up in, that maybe I'm taking for granted, that I'm familiar with, and just take photos of them and see what happens. I don't really have any expectations for how it's going to turn out, but I hope I can get something good. So let's go take photos of stuff. The first camera that I have and that I want to use is this little red digital camera, and it's my dad's camera. I think he got it for underwater photography, but I've never tried to take serious photos on it, and I'm gonna try and use it for filming today, which is something that I also kind of want to practice. It is an OM System TG7, apparently. Then I have this Canon EOS Rebel T3, and I've had this one for the longest. I used it when I was traveling. I've taken a lot of pictures on it. It's not the highest quality in the world, but it's a good little camera. I'm definitely the most used to using this one. The last one I have is one of these ancient digital cameras, the ones your mom would take photos of you on in the 2000s. This has been collecting dust in my house for probably about 10 years. And it's definitely not the greatest quality by any means, but I feel like that 2000s digicam kind of style is back in at the moment. Let's see if we can create some maybe nostalgic stuff with this. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, let's get into it. first day, it was snowing in the morning, so I decided to drive down to an area where a wildfire had burned a couple of years ago. I really wanted to capture the snow with the black trees and get a bit of a darker ambient vibe, but unfortunately when I got to where I was allowed to park, the snow stopped pretty quickly and it actually got a bit sunny. The lighting was cool though, so I went for a walk anyways. I was mostly using my DSLR this day, which is what I was most comfortable with, but I was also experimenting filming with the little digital camera, which is something that I haven't really tried to do before. In a lot of the photos, I ended up using my dog as a subject, as I didn't think the trees were that interesting on their own. The mountains did come out for a couple minutes though, which made for a bit of a cool photo. To be honest, I didn't really like most of the pictures I was shooting. There was definitely a vibe that I was going for that I wasn't really getting in the moment. But when I went back and looked at them, I decided that I actually kind of liked them, and that it wasn't as bad as I thought while I was shooting. This one ended up being my favorite, and I'm not sure why, maybe just because of the contrast and the movement in the snow. This area burned in 2023, and it was quite a bad wildfire and pretty devastating for our community. I remember the hot, smoky summer, and seeing the forest like this in the winter under all of the snow was a harsh contrast and gave me a bit of an eerie feeling. I didn't end up staying too long, as the batteries in the camera I was using to film died from the cold, and my feet were also starting to get really cold. My feet are so cold right now. They're just freezing. The next day, it was super cold, so I went with the little red digital camera to a local bookstore. I worked at this bookstore for 4 years as a teenager, so it's very cozy and feels like home to me. They also have a number of gifts, including these adorable socks. I was having a bit of trouble with the camera and the lighting, as I wasn't used to using this one, and the settings were a bit confusing to me. I did eventually kind of figure it out though, but I was trying to capture a vibe that wasn't really working for me. I did end up getting a little bit distracted by all of the books, as well as the cute cat that lives here. I decided to go back outside, and I managed to get 2 pictures that I actually kind of like, before the battery in my camera instantly died from the cold. And at that point, I just decided to take a break. With a refreshed battery, I headed down to this very cluttered, very cursed feeling antique store. I can never spend too long in here before I start to get overwhelmed, probably from the vaguely malevolent energy from all of these ancient artifacts. But I wandered around a bit and got photos of stuff I found interesting. This basement area was full of so much random stuff, and I was also pretty much alone in there, which was freaking me out a little bit. I also brought out the little Kodak camera for a couple of pictures, like this one of these very creepy dolls. Not wanting to invoke an ancient curse by filming too much in there, I just ended up going home fairly soon after. This one ended up being my favorite picture. I just think the lighting on the stairs is neat. I'd taken quite a lot of photos at this point, but I still wasn't feeling like I was really enjoying it. I was kind of just walking around for the purpose of taking pictures and just kind of obsessing over the fact that I was making myself take photos in general. I thought that what I was taking pictures of wasn't really that interesting, but the point of this video was to take photos of stuff that wasn't interesting and to do stuff that wasn't ordinary. So now that I've been thinking about it, I don't know, I feel like I was just putting a lot of pressure on myself and I really didn't need to be. I wanted to use the little digital Kodak a bit more, so I decided one last time to go to the place that I feel the happiest in the world, which is the garden center. I spent a lot of time in here, mostly just looking at all of the plants I wanted to buy that I didn't have room for. And I was sort of absent-mindedly taking pictures, and while they're not the greatest quality by any means, I actually ended up liking them a lot. I was trying to use the little gray Kodak camera more, as well as the red one. It being February, the garden center isn't the most uppity place, but it was very calming, and I think I did what I went there to achieve. Okay, it is now April, and I have waited far too long to film the outro of this video, but that's okay. I think after a few days of doing this, I found that the number one thing that I needed to do to get something that I was happy with was just to take the pressure off of myself and just not really think about taking a photo, but instead just like enjoy where I was. I'm not traveling and I'm not doing anything particularly interesting. I'm just sitting at home talking to myself through a gaming mic, but I still really enjoyed going out and taking these pictures. Just the act of like going out and making some art allowed me to kind of enjoy those spaces and enjoy stuff that I normally wouldn't do. I think what proves my point the most is that after I was done with this, I was in my bathroom looking in the mirror and I noticed that the light through the window was like diffusing really nicely onto the shower curtain, and I just took a picture of it with my iPhone, and it ended up being personally one of my favorite pictures. And I don't know why, it's literally just a picture of my bathroom, but there was something about the lighting in that moment that made me really happy. And I went around my house and I took more photos of just like the random light coming through windows, and I ended up liking these photos more than anything that I had taken on the actual cameras, which just goes to show that if you like what you're looking at, if you're inspired in the moment, it's gonna turn out a lot better than if you're feeling like you're forcing yourself to do it. This was a really fun challenge. I liked it. And it's also the first YouTube video that I've ever made, which was kind of the point. So I hope that I'm gonna make some more soon. No promises, because it did take me 4 months to find the motivation to make this video. But if you're still watching, thank you. I hope you had fun, and this is the end of the video now. Goodbye.